Now entering the elevator to the retail underground. Enjoy the descent to the subversive layer of knowledge.
Alright everyone, today I want to cover a topic that's been on my mind for the last couple of weeks. Ever since I made that video about the rise and fall of Blockbuster, one thing really took hold of me during my research. The lost opportunity of Blockbuster not purchasing Netflix. Now look, I know hindsight is 20/20, and it's easy to sit back and say that that was the dumbest decision ever, and maybe it was. But nonetheless, if you look at it for the time period that it happened in, it's understandable why Blockbuster would pass. I mean, they were the dominant force in the movie rental game throughout the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. As they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But still, I can't help but think about it. I love speculating on stuff like this, so I wanted to take a deep dive and explore what I believe things would be like today if Blockbuster had purchased Netflix. But before we jump in, how about a quick refresher? For those that haven't watched our other video on the rise and fall of Blockbuster. Basically, Netflix launched in 1997 and was a very different company than the one that we know today. Rather than streaming, the main business was based around direct-to-consumer DVD rentals. Basically, customers would subscribe, order the movies they wanted online, and then the movies would arrive as DVDs in the mail to them. When they were done, the customer would return the DVDs. Well, Netflix grew quick, and in 2000, Blockbuster had the chance to purchase Netflix for only $50 million. But they opted not to, instead making the fateful decision to compete with them. And well, after that I think we all know what happened. Netflix rose to the top, Blockbuster dropped like a rock. But there's always that what if. What if Blockbuster purchased Netflix? How would that change the course of things? Well, here's my take on it at least. After purchasing Netflix, Blockbuster decides to keep Netflix team intact, continuing to build upon the incredible momentum that the young startup has already gained in a very short time. Coming off some of their strongest years as a company, Blockbuster pours money into Netflix, seeing the opportunity to capitalize on growing the brand and its customer base. It's literally like throwing gasoline on fire. Netflix grows at an even faster pace than before and proves to be a very profitable addition to Blockbuster. It also gives Blockbuster a very important subscription model for their business, giving them consistent monthly revenue that they can count on, further fueling growth for not only the Netflix division but also Blockbuster's core business with brick-and-mortar stores. Much of the Netflix story would remain fairly similar as the main Netflix team was kept intact, and they would continue on the same trajectory of transitioning over the years to more of a streaming-based platform. I would argue that they actually would be more dominant and could help prevent some of the future streaming competitors that they see today, such as Disney+, HBO Max, Hulu, and many others. This is, again, due to the massive backing of Blockbuster, not only financially, but also Blockbuster's relationships with movie studios. Having been in the business for so long, Blockbuster undoubtedly made many long-standing relationships with these movie studios and may have very well been able to negotiate longer-term deals and keep many of the movie and TV titles on the Netflix platform and off from other streaming services. That leads us to the brick-and-mortar locations, the bread and butter of Blockbuster. What would have happened to those? Surely if Blockbuster had Netflix as their ace in the hole, they wouldn't have a need for brick and mortar and would shut them down in favor of growing the more profitable streaming services, right? This is the part that could go either way, and this is what I love about these scenarios. The what if, the speculation, the unknown. On the one hand, it's easy to sit back and say, well, of course they would shut those stores down. Why keep them open when literally everyone loves streaming? And you'd be right. Everybody does love streaming. It's fast, it's efficient, it's great. But part of me thinks that they would keep the stores open. At least some of them. Now hear me out on this, because this might sound crazy, and maybe this is just my crazy wishful thinking, but go with me on this for a minute. What if they decided to keep some of their stores open? They could shut down the less profitable stores, sure. Most companies do this in general if they don't have a store that's doing that well. But they can still maintain their more profitable ones. With the profits from the streaming business that they now have thanks to Netflix, it would allow them to maintain some of their stores for the diehard fans out there. I'm talking about people like me, people that love movies, the ones that love the nostalgia of Blockbuster and wish it was still around today. Think about it. If they still had it back in the day, they would still go there. There's an entire generation of people who don't remember or know what it was like when Blockbuster was around. It's sort of like how old fads make a comeback. For example, the bright neon colors of the 80s. They're all over the place now. Doesn't matter where you go. I was just in Dick's Sporting Goods. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that or not, but Dick's Sporting Goods is big around, where I live in upstate New York and all over the East Coast, really. Everything in there is neon colors. So it's absolutely making a comeback. Old gaming systems like the old Sega Genesis, the original NES Nintendo, all back in a limited capacity. However, when they get released, they almost always sell out. People like nostalgia. People like what they can't have anymore. People also like interaction, and they crave the ability to go out and about. As convenient as the internet is, and believe me it is, and all the luxuries that it gives us, people still want to go out and interact with others. They want to have experiences. That's why we still go out to eat, even though there's a Grubhub and Uber Eats readily available for us. That's why we still go to the movies, even though you can literally just stream it at home if you want to, shortly after its release. That's why if there were still Blockbuster stores, I believe people would go. Blockbuster would have been unstoppable had they bought Netflix. They literally could have wiped the floor with the competition if they combined their powers with the online or with the regular stores and the online. But instead, it will always go down as one of the great unknowns, the great what-if scenarios in business. Let us know in the comments below, guys. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I just love these type of speculative videos. I think it's a lot of fun. The what if this would have played out this way? What if that would have played out that way? So what would have happened had Blockbuster bought Netflix? As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. You're the absolute best. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great rest of your day. We'll catch you in the next one.